Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Perspective 654. My name is Ajeliti Ekesa. This is actually our very first episode for this year 2024, and I am so pumped that we made it this far. Now, najua tumechelewa kidogo because, it's almost the end of January of 2024, but, as they say, I think it's a Swahili proverb that says something like kutangulia kwa baa sio kulewa. Just because tumechelewa kidogo kwa baa does not mean hatutalewa. I promise you by the end of this episode, tutakuwa tumelewa just as much as anybody else that showed up at the beginning of the year on January 1st. Now, before we go too far, tafadhali, kama you've not subscribed to this channel yet, please go down there, click on that subscribe button, and then come back. Let us do our thing. So now, my main story today, and I cannot believe that I even have to talk about this, is about one Sospeter Ojaamong. Like many other folks in Busia, I had assumed that ever since he had failed in his second attempt to become the Teso South MP for a second time in his political career in the last election, Mr. Ojaamong would quietly retire from politics, go home, raise his kids and grandkids, and forget all about politics in Busia and everything political. But I guess I was wrong. You are wrong. We were all wrong about this because Mr. Ojaamong is back in the news again. Now, Mr. Ojaamong, he's been a political figure in Busia ever since the early 2000s when he was first elected in parliament as MP for the then Amagoro constituency. I don't think it still exists. And then he went on to be elected as in 2007 as the MP for the newly constituted Teso South constituency. Now, he was an MP for 2 terms, a former 2-term governor of the county of Busia, which happens to be my county, by the way. During his 2 terms in office, he did all he could and then some more to bring Busia County or Busia Town down to its knees. While all our neighboring counties like Kakamega, Bungoma, and Vihiga were moving forward developmentally, transforming into cities, the good governor, Mr. Ojaamong, was doing the best he could in transforming Busia into a shameful village-looking town. It became a dilapidated, slum-like, decaying, dingy, disorganized, crumbling town under his leadership. Now, he was a short-sighted, ineffectual, and apathetic man. I don't think Busia County could have elected a more incompetent governor if we tried. During Mr. Ojaamong's 2 terms as governor of Busia County, he had been accused of nepotism, corruption, lack of vision, apathy, and pretty much everything you can think of. Now, instead of moving forward developmentally, like our neighbors, Kakamega, Bungoma, and Vihiga, as I mentioned earlier, we actually have regressed 10 years under the leadership, quote-unquote leadership of Mr. Ojaamong, if you can call it that. During his term as governor, he also had various run-ins with the law for alleged corruption dealings over an 8 million shilling corruption case. Thanks to our constitution that limited him to only 2 terms of governor, so Mr. Ojaamong was not eligible to run for a 3rd time as governor of Busia County. Thank God for that. And so, what does the guy try to do to stay in politics and to stay relevant? Well, he decided to try his luck on the Teso South parliamentary seat once his term as governor expired, the same place that he started his political career as MP back in 2003, I think. Back in 2009, a UK-based organization released a report on the performance of Kenya's 47 governors. Our good governor, Mr. Ojaamong, came in at a good number 45 out of 47. The only 2 guys behind Mr. Ojaamong were Cyprian Awiti of Homa Bay and Ferdinand Waititu of Kiambu. Out of 47 governors, he came in at a good number 45. And that right there should tell you something about Mr. Ojaamong's skills as a leader and as a governor. Towards the very bottom right here, we can see our good governor coming in at a good number 45 out of 47. That is how horrible Mr. Ojaamong was as a governor of Busia County. And because of that, this is why Busia County looks the way it does right here. Too bad he could not rig the Teso South election like he did the gubernatorial race against Mr. Otuoma in 2017. And the guy practically admitted to rigging the election in a public function a couple of years ago. Check out this video.
Yona Otuoma ni ndugu yetu. Na tuko naye hapa tulipigania yeye viti wakati ile. Lakini maneno hii imekwisha sasa. Iko wakora waliibia yeye kura, wakahakikisha nimepita, lakini tuko na Otuoma tu. Ndugu yangu huyu tunamwombea. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana.
This is him talking about how he rigged the election, or his people rigged the election against Mr. Otuoma. Governor Sospeter Ojaamong was actually humbled by the electorate in Teso South constituency, where he was seeking to extend his stay in elective politics after he retired as governor. Instead, he could only manage a third place finish in a race that was won by former MP Mary Amasi of UDA. Thankfully, the good people of Teso South had had enough of him during his term as governor. They were not about to fall for the same lies and tricks a third time. Mr. Ojaamong now seems to be fighting for his political life, having been thrashed in that election. Either that, or he's trying to make sure that he stays relevant in the political circles in Busia. In a move that is not at all surprising, the opportunistic former governor has decided that it was time to ditch Raila Odinga and ODM party for the feeding grounds that is UDA, United Democratic Alliance. He chose to make this announcement at an event that was attended by none other than President William Ruto himself and other prominent members of the UDA and Kenya Kwanza administration. I wonder why. Now, Mr. Ojaamong claims that his decision to switch parties is purely based on ideological reasons and nothing else. Amesema after 10 years, no, not 10 years, 10 years, 10 years, almost 20 years. After 20 years in ODM, Mr. Ojaamong has suddenly seen the light and decided, you know what, I do not like ODM's policies. I think I'd rather go with UDA because they much more align with my way of thinking. So because of that, Jamaa Meruka, now he's part of UDA. Well, we all know that's not true because it is clear that Ojaamong's decision has nothing to do with a clash of ideologies. In siasa ya tumbo tu, there's really nothing here about ideological things. Nothing about principles, because as we know, Kenyan politics is all about unakwela wapi. Now the situation here is simple. The ODM plate has dried up. There's nothing more that Mr. Ojaamong can eat, and he has decided to make a switch to the UDA plate, which currently is actually overflowing with all kinds of goodies. So Ojaamong, being the opportunistic guy that he is, ameona hapa ODM kumekauka, let me go to the UDA nione nitakula nini huko. And all this in the pretext of, oh, I'm going to bring development to my people if I align with the government, because for government, that is where development is.
Na bahati yangu tuingie kwa serikali. Juzi nilikuwa nasikia wengine wanaomba mtu ya upinzani sijui kaunti, wanaomba daraja. Nikasema wewe kweli umeenda university Kenya, unauliza mtu wa upinzani akupatie kaunti? Mheshimiwa Ruto ana wabunge wengi, ana senators wengi. The right person to ask ndio huyo.
Well, siasa ni siasa. Now, my thinking is Mr. Ojaamong has chosen to align himself with UDA in search of a cushy job within the UDA administration. A plain and simple. Hakuna story of principles or whatever it is. It is only now a matter of time before Mr. Ojaamong gets rewarded for his shift for his move from ODM to UDA. Very soon, very soon, Mr. Ojaamong will be appointed chairman of some parastatal or some organization or the other. So, story of principle, tuache kudanganyana hapa the principle, because as you know, these appointments are for Dr. Ruto to dish out as he pleases. So, just a matter of time, just here. Now, because the good governor is hungry, he has chosen to ditch a party that has carried him throughout his political life, from ever since he was first elected as MP for Magoro constituency back in 2002 to his latest attempt at Teso South MP just recently. Like I said, hii ni siasa ya tumbo tu. The dude has scanned the horizon and seeing no further clear path or prospects under ODM. He has suddenly developed an ideology that surprisingly aligns with the UDA's way of thinking. Shocking, right? During my research into Mr. Ojaamong for this issue, for this episode, I came across this little nugget of gold on his Wikipedia page. By the way, here's a Wikipedia page. And the quote says, always known as a thief person who is leading Busia County to poverty, looting public resources, and promoting nepotism. And it continues. Again, I repeat, Wikipedia says it's not me. Wikipedia says about Ojaamong, it says, and I quote, always known as a thief, a person who is leading Busia County to poverty, looting public resources, and promoting nepotism. That is how Wikipedia describes our Ojaamong. Their words, not mine. And that quote right there, That quote right there to me, sums up Governor Ojaamong into one sentence: who he is and what he stands for as a person. A guy who has done nothing for the county of Busia over 2 terms as a governor, being an MP for Magoro and Teso South, accomplished nothing over those 2 terms, over those 2 stints as well. Now, he believes that ditching ODM is a solution that the folks in Busia have been waiting for all along. Over 20 years, nothing happens, and suddenly you believe if I ditch UDA, ODM for UDA, then basically it's a letter mind in Busia, right? Honestly speaking, though, I don't think ODM party are losing much by Mr. Ojaamong's defection to UDA, as evidenced by his recent electoral rejection by the Teso South people. By the time he was being rejected by the good people of Teso South, Mr. Ojaamong had pretty much become a spent force for which no one else had any use. He had become like an appendix of the ODM party, pretty much a useless organ with no clear function in modern ODM party politics. He has become a non-essential to the ODM cause. He is obsolete, redundant, and irrelevant at the moment. A figure whose legacy in Busia County is tainted by allegations of nepotism and corruption. From his uninspiring tenure as the governor of Busia to the recent defection from ODM to UDA, Ojaamong's moves seem more driven by personal ambitions than any ideological beliefs. His jump from ODM to UDA is therefore of no consequence to the people of Busia or to the ODM party in general. So I say to that, good riddance, my brother, good riddance, Mr. Governor. And that is just one man's opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm sure people think differently. Whether Mr. Ojaamong thrives in UDA or fades away into oblivion, as we had all hoped, only time will tell. And with that, until next time, this has been Perspective 254, signing off. Ajeliti Ekesa. Stay vigilant. Cheers.